As the restaurant in Pecknock began to fill with customers, Sandra stared blankly, leaning against the counter. Although the aroma of garlic and fresh herbs spread through the air, her mind was focused on Ethan and all the moments they had shared. She remembered his deep, rich laughter when he spoke on the phone, and how every word from him suddenly made her small world feel much bigger. However, there was a difference between the two of them in terms of lifestyle and geographical distance. Ethan had become famous worldwide thanks to his globally translated books. Sandra, on the other hand, had her elegant restaurant, where she treated every visitor like a family friend. Ethan believed that the quiet atmosphere was a dream. He had told her, half jokingly, half seriously, many times, "You're too young." Yet, Sandra was aware that those words hid more than a simple fact. Despite his complicated past and extravagant life, she continued to love him. She loved him for the vulnerabilities he had shared with her. And because he seemed like just Ethan, not the celebrity from New York. She wiped her palms on her white apron and thought she would travel to New York just to tell him, "I miss you." Yet, the voice of doubt whispered the contrary. What if he rejected her? What if their differences were greater than she thought? But what did she have to lose? The warm light of the restaurant surrounded her, and then she realized the answer was obvious. She would suffer regret forever if she didn't express her feelings. Sandra made a sudden decision. She would finish this busy evening, pack her bags, and leave for New York tomorrow morning. Maybe Ethan was right that she was younger, but love wasn't about age, it was about people. And Sandra knew, without a shadow of a doubt, that Ethan was her world. Sandra looked down at her empty coffee cup. Then she looked out the window. She saw a woman walking down the street. She heard her talking loudly as she walked. She was angry and talking to herself. She looked like she was yelling at someone. But at whom? Then the person she was yelling at suddenly turned back toward the man who was coming up behind her. She stopped. The man caught up to her and slapped her across the face. The woman's hands clenched into fists. Her chest quickly rose and fell. She cried harder and harder. Sandra turned away from the restaurant window. She couldn't watch anymore. She compared the man seen through the window with Ethan. Sandra shook her head energetically and smiled bitterly. She picked up the book. She opened it and began to read. At midnight, she realized she should probably go home. Her thoughts wandered. Sandra sits at a table in the Dream Club, waiting for Ethan. At the corner table of the Dream Club, Sandra caresses her glass full of emotion with her eyes, waiting for Ethan. Would she receive that gift of love that knows no bounds? Sandra felt her longing turn into comfort at the thought of the imminent meeting. Waiting for Ethan was like a song repeating in her mind. Surely, somewhere, there was that place where her love would turn into a wonderful story. She imagined a dialogue between their souls, how every kiss would bring them closer, how every glance would carry its own story. And even if questions about age persisted in the back of her mind, the certainty that he existed eclipsed any doubt. After all, love is more than just a number. Could this be the moment of meaningful silence before everything explodes into a fantastic universe of love? She wished to remain like this for a while, embracing this uncertainty. When anything seemed possible, what would their life be like together? True love always finds a way. Ethan approached from behind her chair, and she turned around. He was wearing jeans, a white shirt, and sneakers. His dark hair was slightly tousled, as if he had just woken up from a nap. The smile he gave her made her heart flutter. She closed her eyes and felt a sense of peace encompass her. She knew this feeling well, and it was one of happiness. She stood up and embraced Ethan. He pulled her close and kissed her. She rested her forehead against his. They looked into each other's eyes. Then he smiled again. "What are you doing here, Sandra?" he said, his voice deep. Sandra looked at him again. "I can't stay away from you for too long." He laughed at her words and took her hand. They left the club. They walked hand in hand through the crowded streets. A woman pushed her stroller along the sidewalk while two small children clung tightly to each of her legs. A middle-aged man carried a large paper bag. "Ethan, I missed you. It's been a while since you came to see me, to talk. Don't you appreciate my presence?" "I really had some issues," Ethan said, clearly flustered. "You really haven't started a relationship with any man back in Pecnic?" Sandra stopped, taken aback. "Imagine not. I'm still at the stage where I'm satisfied just being with you in my thoughts. You haven't heard that before, and I've been waiting. I've been waiting for you to tell me something. Either to invite me somewhere or to tell me to go my own way. You've really put me on the spot." "Sandra, I don't believe I encouraged you, nor did I intend to give you false hope. I wasn't thinking about that at all. You asked me what I was doing here, and I answered you. Then, I truly don't understand." "You're pretending not to understand. Pull me closer to you or send me into the arms of other men.